Do you want to create a Minecraft server that has some additional customization options that the generic vanilla simply doesn't offer? Well, follow this step-by-step tutorial as I teach you how to implement CraftBukkit into your current Minecraft server and how to add plugins and permission nodes to your server as well. So first off, head on over into your preferred internet browser, in my case Google Chrome, go into the address bar and type in ci.bukkit.org. And this will basically bring you to the Bukkit developer website where you can download the craftbukkit.jar file, which will be our main file running our server. So now go into dev-craftbukkit, and then go in this left-hand column to the most recent build in the build history, click craftbukkit, and then download this snapshot.jar by clicking it and agreeing to download. Now this shouldn't take an extremely long amount of time if you have a decent internet connection, as it's only 9.1 megabytes, but it should just take a few seconds to download. And once this is downloaded, we can actually close your internet browser and then just drag this file down here and right click to create a new folder, and this folder can be entitled whatever you desire. I'll just call it Minecraft, and then drag this .jar file into the folder, double click it to open it, and then rename this file to craftbukkit.jar, and then we're going to double click it to run a Java command which should generate about 12 files in this folder, and they're basically parameters which we can edit as we desire. And it's looking like it's not working, and I sort of expected this. So I have a pre-built server over here which basically has all the generated files within it. So we're going to edit this server.properties file, which is basically the main configuration file for our server. And if it actually prompts you to open it with an application, simply choose text edit. And then basically these are all the parameters, some necessary, some not, which we have to edit for our server. So the level name right here, which is by default set to world, sort of coincides with this world folder right here, which is basically your map for your server. And if you actually change this in the server.properties, you must change this folder as well, otherwise it will generate a completely separate world and use that world. And then the allow nether right here basically allows you to travel to nether and make the nether portals if it's set to true, or not if it's false. View distance is basically your render distance for all the users on the server, so 10's a good one that doesn't lag too badly. And then spawn monsters is self-explanatory. It basically spawns mobs or not. Online mode is currently set to false by default. However, if I make it true, non-premium users can actually join the server, which is pretty neat if you have a buddy who hasn't purchased the full Minecraft game. Difficulty is simply the difficulty level. Game mode is set to 0 by default. However, if you actually change it to 1, it will grant all the users who join your server the creative game mode, so they have an unlimited supply of all items in fly mod and god mode, which is pretty neat. Spawn animals obviously spawns animals if it's true. And the max players here is set to 5 by default, or 10 maybe. Basically, if you're just running a small private server, you don't need any more than 5 people. If you're running a larger server, you can obviously input however many users you want. Then for the server IP right here, we're actually going to enter our internal IP address, and to find this, we can simply go to the upper left-hand corner, click on the apple, and hit About This Mac, More Info, and then simply navigate down to Network. And this IPv4 address right here is actually our internal IP address, and it generally has the prefix of 192.168.1 and then another number. So I'll just input that quickly into here. And then we're going to Command S, file save. And then PvP, basically, if it's set to true, allows other users to inflict damage by punching other players on the server. Level seed, obvious. Server port 25565 by default, leave that. I'll show you how to do that with port forwarding in a second here. Allow flight, it allows fly mod if it's set to true. Whitelist is currently set to true by false by default. If you make it true, you can actually edit this whitelist.txt file, and you can sort of input users who can exclusively join the server, which is pretty neat. So I'll just put myself. And then MOTD is the message of the day, which will sort of greet users when they join the server. So now that we've got that, we can Command S or file save and then close that. And now the next step that we're going to do is actually open TextEdit on your Mac, and then go into Format on the upper tab, and then hit Make Plain Text. Now note, if you do not do this, it will not create start.command for your server, and it will not work. So basically what this file does is it sort of declares that we're going to run a command on our Mac. CD declares that we're going to change the directory of the default one, which is set to our hard drive, to our desktop, and then our Bukkit server folder. And then this Java command right here just declares that we're going to run a Java command, and we're dedicating the maximum amount of RAM to the craftbukkit.jar file to 1024 megabytes, which is actually equivalent to 1 gigabyte, and the minimum amount of RAM on our server to 1024 megabytes, which is also equivalent to 1 gigabyte. And basically it's just telling us that that's going to be the amount of RAM given to our craftbukkit.jar. So now that we've got that, we can file save and name this start.command, and this should by default save to your desktop, and then simply drag this into our metaphorical salad bowl of files and folders. And now actually if we right or double click this file, it will not open for us as we don't have the valid permissions. So now we can actually go into terminal here and then type in chmod space a+x, and then make sure you put a space after x, otherwise this will not successfully grant you permissions and privileges. So then simply drag that file in afterwards, hit return, and if nothing pops up, that means you've successfully done this sort of hack, I suppose, and then you can close out terminal. Now if we double click this file, it will actually run the server, as you'll see in a second here, and generally it will say failed to bind port because we haven't port forwarded yet. That is going to be actually our next step. Now it looks as if I think I may have already set up port forwarding with this, as I have another server on my Mac. But anyways, so now that we've got that, our server is all ready to go. All we have to do is simply port forward. So to port forward, for my sake, I have a Netgear router. So for a Netgear router, go to routerlogin.net, and this will prompt you for a username and password. So the default username is admin and the password is user, I believe. However, if you've set a password for your router, the default username will be admin and the password will be the password you use to join. And then in this left-hand column right here, simply go to port forwarding/port triggering, and then delete any services that you have that you aren't going to need. And then simply hit add custom service, and then type in the service name, which is going to be Minecraft or whatever you desire. Then for the starting and ending port, input 25565 as in our server properties, and then for the server IP address, simply input the last number of your internal IP address, that is, and then hit apply. And then you can scroll down and log out, which will save your settings. And then lastly, for people to actually join your server other than yourself, you're going to go to whatsmyip.org, and this will be the IP address that other people who aren't on your local network will join with. So it's sort of a good thing to note down, I suppose. And now that we've got that, we can head into Minecraft and attempt to join the server to see if it successfully works. So just wait for Minecraft to load here a second. Right, so as you can tell, the first time you start up the server, it may take quite a while to generate the spawn. So now once it says done right here, like so, you can simply go into multiplayer, type in the internal IP address, or the external if you're joining from another network, log in, and voila, here you are. I have my skin, and it's sort of taking a while to generate the world, probably because my render distance is on far and my computer is not the greatest, but so there you are, guys. That is how to create a Minecraft server and successfully port forward and set it up and get all the parameters and good stuff like that. So that is it, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If this was helpful, please leave a like or favorite below, as it really would help me out. And other than that, thanks for watching, and peace.